Yeah. So, okay, what is the Fraternity of St. Hubert?
Yeah, so Fraternity of St. Hubert, check out my super awesome first ever t-shirt that just came in the mail 3 days ago. It's a wildebeest and a crucifix. I don't even like using the word hunting, right? It's not primarily a hunting thing. It's primarily a brotherhood where we have some retreats that involve killing animals, right? That's the whole idea. And it was the brainchild. I've been talking about this forever with a college buddy of mine, Jonathan DeThomas, great guy. We played poker with him one time at your house, I think, about how retreats usually aren't great, right? Typically, and I've been to some good retreats with some great speakers, but typically what happens is you go on a retreat and you do a lot of praying and a lot of talks and even good talks, right? And then you leave and you go home and it was nice. It was nice. It's a retreat that reminds you to be virtuous, all these very good things in and of themselves. But then last summer, for the first time, not our first time in Africa, but our first time doing it this way, we said, we're going to go to Africa. We're going to have a safari. We're going to upcharge everybody so we can bring a priest. We're going to have Holy Mass every morning, opportunities for confession throughout it, and that's it. There's no big talks. There's no big, let's gather around and have a prayer circle, right? It's just, you're hunting with the kind of men who will pay extra to go hunt with a priest and have Mass. And it seems like the easiest thing in the world, but I was kind of hoping I was going to find somebody else that was doing it, and it wasn't out there. And so we built out a website and did all that cool stuff, and we're, I guess, launching when this airs.
What's the website?
fraternityofsthubert.com.
Yeah, what's great about it is for people like me, I kind of got initiated into hunting because of you. Right. Several years ago, you invited me to go to Namibia and we went hunting. But that's not something I would have ever figured out to do on my own. Yeah. And so it was neat a couple of years ago for me to make this announcement to my local supporters first. You remember we thought, how are we going to fill this? I announced it to my local supporters and within like 30 seconds,
yes,
it was sold out.
It was 2 hours, it was sold out with a wait list. And it was. I think there's a real hunger for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the simplicity of it that I think is really, really good, right? What's happening is we're not going to create sort of a retreat with 100 different talks and there's not going to be a theme of the retreat.
No.
And I'm not knocking that. That's great. That's some people. But the idea is just come out and be in the wilderness, right? Just go in the wild and do dangerous things with good men. Because I'd been on a ton of like outfitted hunts and stuff in the past. And I love the hunt. I love hunting. I've done that for most of my life. But you would go on these outfitted hunts with the most crass people, these people who would come out and you'd be in camp with. And I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to pearl clutch or anything when I say, like, I don't like hearing F-bombs dropping left and right. I don't want to hear sexual jokes but I don't want that around me. Once again, I'm weak, right? And I'll lower myself down sometimes when that's going on around me. And so the idea of, right, the natural filter is, a priest is coming, he's being paid for, you're going to be charged more. You go hunt a little bit cheaper if you went by yourself, but those are the kind of guys who are going to be here. The kind of guys who are going to be willing to pay more for Holy Mass every day. And it was amazing. I wish, I don't know if I have access to some of the emails I got, but I shared some of them with you. The emails that we got back from these guys, big shout out to all those guys who went with us to Namibia last year.
No, they really were legitimately amazing fellas. And I brought my son with me. It was his senior year graduation present. And it was really great to have him around such good men. Normal men, men who are having a beer, men who are laughing, right, but men who are serious during the Holy Mass.
Yeah, so I like that word too, normal, right?
Yeah.
They're not, there were great discussions. One that I almost wish I could send you the clip to put in here, but we'd gone on a zebra hunt, right? Mountain zebras, not plain zebras where you walk out and shoot the zebra when it walks in front of you. Mountain zebras, their hooves are almost circular because they're so worn from running around on the rocks and all of that. And so we do maybe a 2-mile trek in, the guy gets his zebra, and we're preparing to pack out. But before we pack out, they're breaking down the zebra. You've got your skinners and your trackers, and everybody's working real hard. And I sat down on a rock and talked to these 2 other guys about what a reverent Norvis Ordo looks like. Oh. Come on. It was the best. It was the great. It wasn't pretentious. There was none of that. It was just real. I think I mentioned this in the car right over here. I feel like sort of we've been really disenchanted with the world because we're so removed from it, right? So right now we're in a climate-controlled building. If it's night outside, that's okay. We can turn on lights. If we're hot, we can make it cold, vice versa. And we spend our whole lives doing non-real things. And as a result, I think it makes us harder to realize how enchanted, on fire the world is with the supernatural. I don't think that it's just the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment that made us stop recognizing supernatural reality, right? I think it's the fact that we've built this world. It's not just the ideas, but it's physically the world that we're in that has done that, right? I mean, if you ask some guy in Central Europe in the year 1600 about demons, demonic presences, vampires, whatever. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's all there. And those demons are still there, right? They're still around us right now, all the time. Demons, angels, all of this stuff. But we're so distracted and we're so not dependent on the natural world like we ought to be that it sort of gives us permission to not think about it.
Hallow is the #1 Catholic prayer and meditation app to deepen your spiritual life anytime, anywhere. Go to hallow.com/MattFrad to get the first 3 months for free. Yeah, I love that. And now if you want that truth, as you say, you got to go talk to a Filipino grandma.
So that was a big thing the other day. I said basically that all the old, like 170-year-old Filipino ladies in the back of the church who said everything was demonic when you were a kid, they were right. It really all is. It's just all demonic everything. And so the idea of the Fraternity of St. Hubert is, now go out into the wild, do real things with good men, with virtuous men who are going to build you up. We had guys, at least 2, maybe 3 guys on this last trip who'd never shot a gun before. Right? We had guys who had never hunted before, but they'd done some, sport shooting or whatever at a range. And it was just this welcoming, good, awesome environment. I had a guy who texted me afterwards and he said, I'm having a hard time readjusting to the real world after being in Namibia. Right? He said, maybe this isn't the great tagline, but he said, I felt like the guy in Shawshank who couldn't adapt to the real world after leaving prison because Namibia seems more real than real life. And that's the coolest thing. I don't know. It's just cool. And so it's been on my heart for a long time, and now I'm super excited about it.
So you're scheduling hunts, not just in Africa, but around the country, different times of the year. So if people go to, what's the website again?
Fraternityofsthubert.com.
Fraternityofsthubert.com. We'll put a link in the description. They can presumably see what hunts you're leading and how many spots are available.
Right.
They can pay to have maybe them and their son come along with you, and they don't have to be worried, hey, I don't know if I'm great at hunting or anything like that.
No, so it's all handled, right? That's the idea. And once again, I told you I was a little nervous about this because it feels like a pitch. It feels like it is kind of a pitch,
yes,
right?
And it's something worth pitching.
But if you go to fraternityofsthubert.com, you can sign up for free, right, to get updates, right? We also have a membership where essentially, I think it's $6 a month, super cheap, right? There's a whole chat room feature. We'll send you a merch package, all of that fun stuff. But what happens if you sign up for the email is you're going to get email updates saying, hey, we got this hunt going on in Kansas. We're hunting pheasants in Kansas, or I'm talking to a turkey guy tomorrow, actually, out in Nebraska. I want the Africa thing to be sort of the crown jewel. Yeah. But we've got a Maine bear hunt coming up. We've got Namibia 2027. Namibia this coming summer, booked immediately in about 2 hours without even pushing the thing. Praise be to God, right? And today is the Feast of St. Hubert, which is super cool.
That's amazing.
I know. I had no idea when you gave me the dates. I know. That's cool.
I really would like your tagline to be a retreat where you get to kill stuff.
I love that.
Something simple like that. It reminds me of Ron from Parks and Recreation. He says that fishing is relaxing like yoga, but you get to kill something in the end.
Yeah. No, and I don't mean to get all philosophical about it, but I was just rereading Wild at Heart, right? John Eldredge, who you had on the show, who's amazing, and he needs to convert and become Catholic. But he's an amazing, amazing guy. And he gets so into sort of what masculinity is. And I want to make it really clear that the Fraternity of St. Hubert is not primarily about going out and shooting things, right? That's super cool. I love to go out and hunt. I trophy hunt. I shoot big animals. I eat them, right? The reason we hunt in Namibia is because everything's above board there. The animals are respected. But I go out there to hunt because I want to hunt. But that's not why it's good primarily. It's primarily good because it's an outlet for men to really embrace the dangerous, I don't know, liability-ridden, I don't know, stuff that we ought to do that we want to do. Yeah. I've said this, and I've probably said everything I'm about to say on the show, but I talk to a lot of young men. I talk to a lot of young college guys, a lot of guys who are newly married, out of college, and so many of them struggle with that question of what is masculinity. And masculinity, I want to make it really clear, is not going to Africa and shooting big animals. That's super cool. We have that desire to do that, right? But if you want to know what masculinity is, I think you ought to look at, I don't know, your 4-year-old son at home who knows he's not a man, but knows what a man does, right? And a man is virtuous, and a man is good, and a man slays dragons and protects princesses, and he plays cops and robbers with his buddies, and I don't know, does all these things that are really, really good. And then we get older, we get in the malaise of being an adult, and we don't have outlets for that. And the Fraternity of St. Hubert, I want to exist to give an outlet for that. Go out and do the thing. You can do it. You don't have to know anything about it. You don't have to know how to shoot a gun. You don't have to know how to, I don't know, stalk Gemsbuck in Africa or sit in a tree stand to hunt bear in Maine. But you probably, every single man listening, just about, has that desire to do something that is dangerous.
Thank you very much for watching that Pints with Aquinas clip. If you like it, do me a favor, click like and subscribe, and please offer a Hail Mary for the work of Pints with Aquinas and all the people we're trying to reach. God bless you.